Asemaba.
C'est chier. On s'est dit, quoi, maintenant? A boka. Boka. C'est un train rap. Where is it come? Cook train. We can't cook here. We can't. Okay. We can't.
Kennedy Agyapong versus Aremeyaw Anas. Asem kese na eden esi. Ya say obi aponti ewu no na obi nkwan mu ayede. Obi busuani ewu no na omo ye funda kaso eden eni agye. Na US court charge Kennedy Agyapong 18 million US dollars. Out the bagan is came and yes or pay yasem ketwa. Abusuan for easy because they say masemi yangasano anasi the call Ghana quarter anasi dincho meche say anasi dinkugo ne kopie US no Kennedy Agyapong side then dincho na che say and amanfo kese Ghana court na che say la sulala bi wom abusuafo yasem ketwa. All because of your CBB friend defamation, your cat defamation, as a name, I will be car 2 nuaso. Now, yes, Kennedy, I can catch the anasi your cronfo, anasi your kunkum and crowfo, ben a chess, and yasem ketua. I was here for and ye easy. Into US court, no, a query in an yes, your bois Kennedy for say own to your size Canada. Emma Anas Aremeyaw. Now, court in the query na Kevin Taylor, one of the lawyers, and asking lawyers in or church and 7 more power pen 7 timber both video na then actually a power pen 7 messages and then they can wish Sika TV Dubai. Like na subscribe na share video na soon you then been share. More than mama yanko in some lawyer and kind.
We have Anas lawyer, one of his representatives or his counsels, Evans Selassie Adeka. He's on the line to speak to us on this very matter. Good evening, lawyer.
Good evening, Kevin.
Vipacho, can you run us through how it started and how we got to know today, say, a judgment in the New Jersey court? Abba.
It's back court in New Jersey. Yes, I say, papa no video no so papa na nenumu nsam kire say okase free fie New Jersey. So we thought, there was solid grounds for us to be in the court in New Jersey. So I advised my clients accordingly. We filed sometime, I think, sometime, I think, in the summer of 2022.
May 17th, 2022.
Yes. And by law, no, there was a period by which Papa no Anka was or responded with what is known as an answer. Papa no one filed a response, and my case no call into default. Now, after a period of default, you can actually go for judgment. Now, a case near Fale, we filed on 3 counts. But I couldn't say or say a chrome or a chrome 4. The second one was say or you would in terms of Onuna or behind the medal of Yenuya Ahmed Swale.
Yeah.
Now, the third one so say Yenuya no a serial killer in terms of Chinese for Bibi Ghana. And then the fourth one is say or a criminal. The blanket word criminal. And then the fifth one by implication, or say, behind Woody Sembiana, that means say, Biana, no, a trigger man, and I will be second, and I say, perform the physical act that led to the foreseeable events, which is Obi. So we also included a count that he is that he claims that my client, a co-conspirator in multiple serial killings. So that was basically the gravamen of our complaint. And when it went on undefended after the response time, now we began to make preparations to move for judgment. But being that I was in Ghana and we are all based in Ghana, we reached within our network and we partnered with 2 brilliant lawyers who I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate. Atawemega Esquire, he was the father figure of the team of lawyers, and a brilliant trial lawyer by the name of Andrew Dehere. These are all brilliant Ghanaian lawyers on this case. And at that point, we recruited them as counsel of record. And the case went at that point. Kennedy's lawyers came in, obviously because near the judgment for the full $30 million. And so he had counsel, and counsel came and also did his thing. Reopen default. They argued that they had a solid defense, and I think right around then, and I almost got judgments from Ghana. Almost really see it. And I know so say almost defense to case I follow New Jersey.
We need
But
Ghana, so our case no
exactly.
It's only no almost case. Okay.
So as defense against, but the interesting thing is that defamation sits here no. Say kind of my there the work for court. It's a separate case.
Yeah.
It's not to mean to Ghana and from the defending way. You still have to prove the truth of it. My client testified. He testified. He brought other witnesses. Maintaining the position, say no can or the standard by no kind.
Okay.
Basically, I'm just a practice no creno D and on your bonibia.
Okay.
So to support that, or the move your child in it too, who watches a watchman. But they are also by as on only defense, and so the jury had the opportunity to evaluate that and factored that in the analysis. And obviously, it was not the weight that they wanted the jury to accord to it. So jury never bugui. And about 20 minutes later, the jury came back with a verdict, and there were the multiplicity of very quick. And there was a multiplicity of questions that were posed to the jury. That's the way how they arrived at the decision. Unanimous, 8-0 on every count and on every question that was posed to the jury, including damages. Now about no be doing and also crown. There was a unanimous decision. I just say it was a solid decision of the jury. 20 minutes on take it on. Say there was no doubt in our presentation.
Na chese lawyer ne kanya gusu kanya be chirechirem sika sem na ewo no $18 million no obe chirechirem be papem mama yentie sika sem ne side no so the way a lawyer ne chirechirem file
claim for $30 million, $30 million.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. And what I'm saying is that at the before the mandatory settlement conference, or before the jury is empaneled, even though my client had firmly informed me he had no intention of settling this case because he believes that he ought to go to a jury of his peers to clear his name. But maybe let's just prepare our settlement memorandum, be thorough and be reasonable.
Yeah.
And even though he protested, I prepared a settlement memorandum that sought to settle this case for $18 million. Okay. Now you do settlement conference, about court. Now the lawyers just say what he was willing to settle this matter for, and they said $10,000. So honestly,
it's clarification is very, very important. Normally Ghana.
Okay.
Into Muko Drew Hono, Anas initially, you have kind of simple street language, and the damages are not paid around $30 million. And while the client and Anas Kasa say a woman saw $30 million, and yes, he can't all pay. In fact, he wants his name to be cleared, and then any priority of going to court.
Yes.
But because of the experience, now unim sibi anyo matiano, no client here Anas Kasa and say it will be better and to be reasonable to at least settle on $80 million. And I'll say, no client Anas, you did not really agree, but because he respects you as his counsel, Anas and a lawyer, you people ended up around that money, around that figure, which is $80 million.
So I was surprised, you have a panel buyer and also on over $10,000 to end the case.
No.
And I want to arbitrate and I who said no, some way he's sitting here, I'm sure so I can kind people. So he said basically go and take your gamble in the courtroom. So that's how we ended up going to trial. There was a component you multiply that 18 million by 5, money do 90 million. For a total of about
that was the plan.
Yeah, that was the plan. Yeah. Because
to do that. Okay.
Yes. And then you decided to say but we are bold with coming public with the finding of culpability on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yana pay a coin no nema ba kuminu siya. We ended up leaving that alone. A pursuit of times 5 because almost file emotions be I just say or say to a boss na in terms of that and sana say one way or another I go back I could pursue that times 5 and I say depending on what happens be I bit me German cafe. But at this time almost my court no say busa into so.
Okay. So at this point, you know, Oma Makote who say Ombeba 80 million or Omo Pentiswo. How many days do they have to file that?
Okay. So at this point, no, the next thing that's going to happen is that there's going to be a paper, a judgment. I just say court reading seal better so.
Yeah.
That will take a few days, and then after that, I believe there's a 5-day rule that's within which you can file that motion. So a bay motion, matese binukasa appeal by nya appeal depending on how that motion goes. No,
okay.
We would get a chance. We may get a chance to attempt to get our times 5 of that 18 million, or a big jam and so depending on how that motion goes. No.
Motion goes. So for now,
yes.
18. No, Obintiminka said that is the end of the case. It depends.
No, it's not because hypothetically, so we still have the opportunity to go for times 5.
That is 50. Okay.
Yeah, it's about extra 50 plus. Yeah, hypothetically, so back 10 we can go for another times 5.
Lawyer Evans Salasi Adeka, or somebody Esquire. So thank you very much, and I'll also say thank you to your colleagues that helped. In this case, Andrew De Gea. Also, Arthur Wemega Esquire and Aday Crow. I would like to say, I really appreciate your time. You've educated us and also made things very clear to Ghanaians.
Abusuafo na yes and yasem keto na yes and ye lawyer ne nkwa na akasa anase so aye video. Anase so aye video afa court nsem 7 ho abekasa. Na manfo say hey Kennedy ama anase agi nanim e wo US court. Na nanim na wayi no sa na anase animete ai nanim na wayi na mo say one share we no still na no san ye den e hye bibi anase so abe video di afa ho mama yenkohwe ne yenkotie ni anase so ye den e kan.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I stand before you not just as a journalist but as a witness to history, a child of Ghana's turbulent past and a soldier in the fight for truth. Yesterday, in the Essex County Superior Court of New Jersey, an 8-member jury delivered a unanimous verdict holding Kennedy Agyapong, former Ghanaian MP, liable for defamation and awarding damages of $18 million. The ruling is more than a legal victory. It is a profound affirmation that truth matters, that justice is not a privilege of the powerful, and that the arc of history does indeed bend towards righteousness. My story begins long before this moment. I was born at the 37 Military Barracks in Accra, the son of the soldier who served in an era where power belonged to those who wielded the gun. I grew up watching my nation transition from military rule to democracy, witnessing firsthand the struggle of ordinary Ghanaians yearning for justice, transparency, and accountability. When Ghana finally embraced democracy, I knew that safeguarding it required more than just laws. It needed the unyielding courage of those willing to hold power accountable. That is why I chose journalism, not as a career, but as a calling. Over the years, my team and I have exposed corruption at the highest levels, from the corridors of politics to the halls of justice. But in fighting the corrupt, one becomes a target. Mr. Agyapong, in a desperate bid to silence me, labeled me a land grabber, an extortionist, a murderer, a tax evader, and a blackmailer who ought to be hanged. These were not just lies. They were calculated attempts to destroy my credibility and put my life in danger. While Ghana's legal system failed to deliver justice in 2018, the U.S. court upheld truth. This case was not easy, Proving defamation in the United States requires establishing actual malice by a clear and convincing evidence standard, one of the highest legal thresholds in the world. That the jury ruled 8-0 in my favor on every count is a testament to the fact that Mr. Agyapong acted with reckless disregard. Regrettably, Ghana's justice system has not always lived up to the principles of fairness and impartiality. When I sued Mr. Agyapong in 2018, despite his inability to legally substantiate his allegations, the court ruled against me, with Justice Barr scandalously branding me a terrorist instead of adjudicating the facts before him. This miscarriage of justice was later condemned by Supreme Court Justice Kolende, who rightly described it as a violent abuse of judicial authority. My fight has never been for personal gain, but for the soul of Ghana's democracy. This victory in the US sends a powerful message. The media cannot be silenced, truth cannot be buried, and those who wield power must be held accountable. Let this moment be a wake-up call to all who seek to erode the foundations of justice in Ghana. Let it remind us that democracy is not just about elections, but institutions that uphold the truth, courts that deliver justice without fear or favor, and citizens who refuse to accept corruption as the norm. To my legal team, Andrew Dehere Esquire, Aremeyaw Esquire, Evans Salasi Adeka Esquire, and Odei Crow Esquire, I am forever grateful for your dedication to justice. And to my supporters in Ghana and around the world, your unwavering belief in the fight strengthens my resolve. The battle against corruption continues. We will name, shame, and jail. Ghana deserves better, and I will never stop fighting for a future where justice is not a privilege of the powerful, but the right of every citizen. Thank you.
Inti abusuafo asama yisi aden ewo ho ato Kennedy Agyapong ni yasem ketwa eya reho na ye bi mo so de because Ghana ha no nipa bebre na epe Kennedy Agyapong asem bebre su na edwa no inti no akoye se bi mu ani age ebi mo so den ewra ho sa na wiase ne te wiase ne sa na eden ete inti no sa wo ho na wo ka bibia fo bi ho a na wa hwe nie uni evidence e kire se nipa na ye nko a minua kawan abeya nka yeden kawan lutum de ye kan evidence wo ho tina yeden yensu ye ka bi Ghana court ehu de bintimi nka bebre Ghana court ehu asemba akọ ebi mu adi ntwo ebi mu adi fo ebi mu chese ekopie be ebi so a different story altogether. Iti abusuafo and the video ni beden ebesia and then the edi kan ya wo hwe Sika TV Dubai mesre wa so be subscribe no like it na wa share video na eden edi amame.
Yeah man, you don't know. I go by the name J Bad. Keep watching Sika TV Dubai. What you say? Yeah man, one family.